I'm Despa. You're watching Meet the Artists. This is be83, and today I'm here with Mr. Blizzard.
Same, brother.
What's going on, bro?
I'm very good, man. You okay?
How you doing? I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
I don't think we've ever had an opportunity to sit down and talk.
We haven't, no. It's always been at a club or something.
Yeah, like a club or Twitter or something like that.
Yeah,
I've known you for a while, and I still know you cause the Shifty and stuff.
Yep.
But it's like my pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure. I love what you're doing with the series.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stuff.
So what I want to do is talk about kind of like where you are now as an artist. A lot of people know you from kind of like Don't Flop or Channel U days or etc. Where would you say your biggest audience is from at the moment in terms of your fan base?
To be honest, probably my main demographic, considering the past 2 years of my career, is probably Don't Flop, because it was a complete change of scenery and it definitely brought a new audience to my sound, and it really kind of influenced me to be more charismatic in the way that I present my sound and the way I present my music, because at the end of the day, the way that the Don't Flop audience vision everything is, it's got to be very loud and very you know, direct. And with me, my music was quite reclusive and introspective, so I feel like now with the experience that I've had through the Don't Flop, through the Don't Flop medium, has made me want to just be more direct with the way I present my sound and the way I make music. Yeah.
So you say it's definitely helps you kind of grow as an artist.
And it's helped me confidence-wise as well, because to go into a battle ring like that with the lyrics you've got to really give it your all, because you're not only trying to appeal to the people that will watch it at a later date, you're trying to appeal to the people that are around you, that have paid money to come to this event. So it really made me kind of reassess the way I was going, and I guess just plan everything differently, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely helped me, you know what I mean? So
I mean, how did you get into all that? Because I know you from the first time I remember seeing you was on Channel U. I can't remember what the tune was called, but I think you were in a racing car.
That's
watching, what was it? What was
it was called We Big Like. It was I think it came out about 2005, so I would have been about,
I feel old, bro.
So why? I was 11. I was 11. Yeah, I think I was a young kid. I think I was just hitting 11 or something, like just going into high school when this song came out. And the reason that tune came around is me, my cousin Shifty, and Slayer were in a group called Mayhem at the time, and a competition came around that was called EA Big in the Game, and I think Sway was performing at the same thing at the same time, so we've gone for it, performed one of our old songs, got through, and then a couple of days before the event happened, and it was the final stage, because I think we got through to like the final 8 or something, we just penned a song together. Slay had this like reload lyric, if you will, which was the I'm big like EA, and it was something that if he was to go to a club with that, it would just get a complete spin back straight away. So we thought, okay, let's incorporate that into the song that we're going to perform live, because it will be perfect. It will just make everyone go crazy. And I had one of my beats that I'd made on like Fruity Loop 6 or something from when I was like 10. And we just wrote to it. It literally was like, I think it was like 2 nights before, we was just like, let's do something completely different. So we wrote together and then performed it for the first time on that night, and it was amazing, and we won at the end of the competition, got to perform with N-Dubs, and they were the unsigned hype at the time, which is crazy, Like they had just came out with Better Not Waste My Time and I Swear. I think they were the first 2 tunes that they had planted on like Channel U and planted on radio. So looking back, it's pretty crazy, you know what I mean? Because now look at the position they're in.
Like you were 11 and you didn't sound like you just started writing at that point then, because I remember thinking, oh, this kid's kind of alright. So at 11, like what age did you actually start like writing lyrics and spin? I've been doing it for a while.
Well, I've always been really into writing, not necessarily the grime or the hip hop medium, not necessarily on beats. Since I was about 7 or 8, I was really interested in poetry, and I was very interested in spoken word and prose. So, and also just writing short stories. I was really into my creative writing, especially in primary school. So as I grew older, I feel like I was reading more, and I was like taking everything around me as an inspiration point, as a focal point, if you will. So after a couple of years, like, I saw Shifty was doing it really well. Like, he had a couple of tracks that were just circulating around the Manchester music scene, and it really did inspire me, because everyone around me when I used to go to my cousins were musicians, whether it was a DJ, whether it was a rapper, whether it was an MC or a producer. Like my cousin SNO was a bit older than me, I think like 5-6 years older than me. He's a dubstep producer.
Okay.
He was like there from like 2003, like Macabre Unit days, you know, the old school stuff. Like, like he was around the same time as like when Hatcher and Scream came out, and Benga. So it was really cool to see this happen, because in my eyes, he's almost the innovator of the genre, even though he kind of was lost in the current of everything that was going on, because then like 2003, Digital Mystics blow up, and the like illegal sound systems start to really gain popularity. But yes, it's just like being around musical people definitely had a direct impact on the way I was going, because then I'd just start writing to beats rather than just writing things for the sake of writing. And then getting to like 10 years old, 11 years old, I start to finally have a grasp on how to hold a beat and how to like put my syllables into place, because obviously with grime it's very fast tempo, it's like 16 hi-hats to the bar, it's like having to fit the da-da-da-da-da-da-da rather than doing hip-hop. It's very laid back, lethargic, half time. With grime it's very double time. But yeah, it's just like being around Shifty was one of the biggest things for me, you know what I mean? Like to me he's grime scene royalty, considering how big he was at the time, and it's this crazy thing, you know what I mean?
And so what happened for you from that track I'll Channel You in say what, 2004, 2005? How did you transition into where you are now? How did you, in between Don't Flop and that point, what were you doing?
A very crazy timeline, to be fair, because for a good 2 or 3 years after EA came out, I was very fixated on doing 140 music. It was something I really loved, because I had all these producers around me that would send me music. I had like Slay, Rem Dog, I had Liquid, Wrigley, Rio, TJ Lyrics, everyone, Shifty as well, around me, playing grime beats all the time, and I was very fixated on the fast flow and having substance. And I guess me being the anomaly to the rule, being this young, suburban, well-spoken, posh grime MC, it was kind of, it was almost an angle for people to access, and people would see me in a very different light to all of the other competition. So I definitely took that and ran with it. And then, say from 2004 to 2007, I would just do grime music, and it was only from about 2008, and that's what, 5 years ago, I was listening to like Mobb Deep, and I was listening to like Gangstar, Guru, J Dilla, Slum Village, and I was like, I'm really liking this. I felt it was a better way to incorporate content, because with grime music and with anything on the 140 BPM bracket, you're very limited to what you can say, because I know how grime MCs think. It's like you have to fit syllables in, because when you do a grime freestyle, it's more the case of showing off your ability and having a better flow than anybody else around you. With hip hop, it's more to do with actually like evoking emotion and letting a message out for people to hear and for people to relate to. So then I thought, well, I love hip hop, but why can't I do this on grime music? What's the difference? So I started to just go back to the drawing board. I didn't really record. I had a little bit of a hiatus for about 9 to 12 months, just reassessing everything really, because I was getting to the point where the young label was going to wear off at any point. Because when you are just Shifty's cousin, you're just that young MC that used to sneak into clubs. That stays with you. It's like a cloud that hangs over you. And like, I'm 19 now, I'm touching 20, so that's not going to last forever. And I want my music to mature with me as a person, and I want my music to reflect the stage in my life that I was at. And with my older music, it does sound quite childish a bit, and immature maybe, but that's when I compare it. When I compare it, because obviously, like, this is me being my own worst critic, I guess, you know what I mean? But now I'm at that point where I'm really trying to test my musical ability, and this is why I'm going with the live instrumentation in the set, so playing piano, because that's something I didn't really know how to do until I was like 17. Got into college, started playing piano, never knew how to do it, can't read music for anything, just played keys, used to listen to songs and try and pick up the melody behind it.
Yeah.
And then from then I just ran with it and improved over time, gradually. And this is me now, and I'm just trying to incorporate like a hybrid sound into my product. So it's different to my competition.
So how would you describe the sound that you've matured into now? Like, is it very instrumentation based? Is it, where does it derive its influences from?
It's very, very melodic and without blowing my own trumpet, quite tasteful, because it's got to the point now where I'm trying to be real to myself, to the point where I can look back at one of my previous products and say, yeah, I'm happy with all the substance, I'm happy with all the production, I'm happy with just the overall build of it. And with me, I'm more of a, like, I feel like I'm becoming more of a craftsman and more of a professional worker, because obviously I want people to look at my music the same way that I look at my music. I want to be proud of it, and I want other people to think, wow, he should be proud of that.
Yeah.
So this is why melody and, like, I don't know, like, just overall craftsmanship of the production. This is why recently I've been going over to the hip-hop side of things with my production, making really, like, J Dilla syncopated kind of tunes, that the kind of thing I want to listen to, you know what I mean? And hopefully people will get that when they hear the next product, because if you compare it to my last EP, which I brought out in 2012, September 2012, Sooner Than Never, it was very kind of boxed off, because it was very electronic, and a lot of the themes in the production were very, like, constant and didn't really stray away from the norm.
Did you produce all the music on it?
I think I produced everything other than one tune. Yeah. I think everything other than one tune, and that was that. At that point, when the EP was finished, I really was proud of it, because it's like I had more of an input than just putting the words over the top of a track, because anyone can do that. Anyone can go to SoundClick, buy a track, lease it for £30 and record over it. But at the end of the day, that's not all your work. And this is why I love things like, I was listening to the King Cruel album the other day, and it's a really great record, but he, like, played all the guitar lines on it, he mastered it all, he did all the vocals on it, he wrote it himself. And if that was me making that record, I'd be like, wow, this is, and the thing is as well, this guy's my age as well, and he did all of it, and it really inspired me. And this is why with my next project it's going to be like all self-produced, because who knows my style better than myself? Because I listen to all the music and I take the focal points from certain mediums, whether it's jazz music, whether it's rock music, whether it's like ballad, I don't know, like I incorporate it into my own products, because I know what I like, I know what's, like, audibly pleasing to myself. You know what I mean?
So, like, when did you get into production? Was it something, or why was it something because you don't have any cousin that does it, or was it just a natural thing you wanted to control your music a bit more?
I don't think it was to do with controlling my music. I think it was just trying to find a hobby at the time. But it just branched into something cool, because I remember, I think it was about, to think of it, I think I've been producing around the same time I've been rapping.
Okay.
Because I had my cousin gave me his like his old software, which was like Fruity Loop Studio, and I never knew how to use it. And then after a while, just started pressing things and found out what a piano roll was, and then like I produced the Big Light EA tune, and that was like one of the first tunes I produced. Yeah, I produced that. I was like, I think I was 10 when I produced that, 11 when I produced that. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that I remember the songs. That's surprising to me that you actually made that.
The thing is though, with at that age, I didn't really have an acute ear for what sounded good. It would just sound nice to me. Yeah. But we took that tune to the studio afterwards when the video was about to drop, and it was remastered. But all of the the piano lines, all of the drums were all me. So
wow. And so you've been, because I would have, in my head just now I was thinking that you picked that up along the way.
I was quite inconsistent with it though, because there'd be points where I wouldn't really be that interested in it. I'd be very blasé to the point of producing my own stuff, because I'd go through points where I'd be more interested in the writing aspect than the production aspect, which is just natural, I guess, because you just go through phases where it's like, yeah, I'm really into writing, I'm going to write more rap, and then sometimes I'll just be like, yeah, but I want to produce something, so I'll just get into the hype and then just make something, craft it up. But now it's got to the point where I'm kind of equal with both, and I can go to a studio and I can make the track and then vocal it in the same day. a couple, like it would take me longer than that in past years. It would take me a couple of days till I was happy with something. And now it's got to the point where like, I think having the ability to play keys has aided me so much in my production because I can just literally just press record and just start jamming things and then like add things over the top of that. Be like, oh yeah, that sounds really nice. Maybe I'll put a drone there. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll put a nice little 7th, or I'll just put some pads. And I just literally like, it's like I'm in a science lab and I'm mixing chemicals. I had that picture in my head. Yeah, like just like Dexter's lab, mixing chemicals. Like a little bit of sulfur, a little bit of this. You know what I mean? That's kind of like how my production is just like. It's kind of sporadic, just, and then after I've got like a nice little background of what I want, I'll start taking things out, and then if it sounds good, it will stay. If it doesn't, it won't. And then the process goes on and on. A couple hours later, I've got something I'm happy with, record vocals over that, and then do a little final mix, add any tweaks, and then that's the track, I guess.
And how many tracks deep are you in your next project, and when do you expect it to come out?
Well, I've literally like about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, finished the new project that's coming out, which is called Testing the Water. That's supposed to be dropping, I'd say, 2nd week of February, if all goes right. And now I'm like gathering beats for my album, making beats for my album, and experimenting with writing styles and experimenting with different genres. And I've been looking at a lot of 70s and 80s music, a lot of synth pop, a lot of things that Phil Spector produced with the Wall of Sound, stuff like Adam and the Ants for the tribal vocals that have been layered 70, 80 times, looking at like Radiohead's dissonant guitar playing, and then like Muse's heavy metal stuff, and just thinking, all right, cool, I'll write this down. I'm really into how Kid A was produced. I really like this pad. Or yeah, I was really into the Adam and the Ants song, Prince Charming, where they did the vocal layers. You know what I mean? And then I'll go to a studio, I'll have a little notebook, and I'll go, all right, so Mount Kimby's bit, I'll listen to it again, and I'll think, okay, so if Blizzard made this tune, how would he do it? And then I'll go back to the piano, play things over, and then it's the way I do it is, I think having a lot of focal points makes it easier, because having very narrow focal points, say if I make a record and I'm only listening to StayFresh religiously, it will sound very influenced by that. But then again, if I listen to rock, jazz, gospel, choir music, acoustic, baroque, classical, you know what I mean? You take aspects of each and incorporate it into just a divine product. And this is what I want to try and do, just make really eclectic, credible music that will hopefully echo through the ages, if I'm lucky.
Well, you know? A lot of the influences you have, I mean, I know a lot of them, and thinking that you're going to be taking those kind of influences and putting them into a project, I'm really interested to hear.
Definitely. I'm very, very influenced by acoustic music as well, watching a lot of like on sofa videos, and then listening to like loads of like Jeff Buckley and stuff like that, Damien Rice, and just like literally there's not one kind of music that I don't listen to, because at the end of the day, genres don't mean anything to me. Music is music. If it's well crafted, I'll enjoy it. And there seems to be like some sort of stigma attached to someone in the rap industry, like bopping to Bring Me the Horizon, or like rocking to Slipknot, and it's like, so what? If the music's good, listen to it, and don't care about the reactions that you may get from that. And this is where I think people are scared to branch out because of that, you know? And I don't really see why I can't just make any music I want without people thinking, maybe he's going a bit far with that, or maybe this is a bit of a stretch.
So it's interesting that you've got this mindset, and you seem very musically aware of what you want to do, and it seems like you're quite in tune with not being pigeonholed. In any
that's always been my aim.
Any kind of region. How is it that you ended up doing like battle rap, and do you feel like people are trying to pigeonhole you?
Welcome to Don't Flop. Enjoy the stay. Basically it's like when people see so much of one thing, it becomes an expectation for the rest of your career. And this is like, for example, Kanye West does 4 albums, relatively hip hop. 808 and Heartbreaks comes out. What is this?
Changes the game.
Changes the whole like the way you look at it. And with Don't Flop, it's like, to be fair, I kind of oversaturated myself with it because I really enjoyed it. It wasn't really something I took too seriously. It was a hobby. I just loved going there, having a drink, rapping about people, and then having a laugh about it. And then, you know, and then after a bit though, with the big battle, the Mark Grist battle, the viral appeal and the way that the message was switched and altered, it completely changed the way people perceived it. Because rather than it just be two people attacking each other with penmanship, it becomes student battles his teacher, he gets destroyed, this is what happens. And it becomes, oh wow, Reddit grab that, World Star grab that, BuzzFeed grab that. And it became a bit too out of control, because it would come to the point where people in the street would only know me because of that. And it's like, wow, cuz, you that guy that battled his teacher, innit? Yeah, he smoked you, cuz. You know what I mean? And it did get kind of annoying, because at the end of the day, that wasn't my main aim. I always wanted to be a musician first, but having quite a dry spell with music and then stray into battle rap, I should have really expected it, because I wasn't consistent with both. I prioritised battle rap over music for a short period, and I'm still kind of facing the repercussions of that now. But I've not battled for a bit. I'm doing Lord of the Mics, which I find a bit different to Don't Flop.
Well, this is the thing, because I've got you on Facebook, so I see your statuses, and I remember a big one was about not being pigeonholed as a battle rapper.
Yeah.
And then I read on Twitter that you're doing Lord of the Mics.
I bet it seems quite contradictory, doesn't it?
Almost, in a way. But like, I understand that they're two different markets. But in my head, I did sit down one day and think, well, why Lord of the Mics?
You know, I'm still trying to work that out myself, because it just seemed very right. The timing seemed very right, considering I'm not trying to use Lord of the Mics as my way of marketing, but I just thought, well, my EP is going to drop about 6 to 8 weeks after, and, you know, Lord of the Mics is a very prestigious platform.
Definitely.
With the amount of people that have been there, let's say Wiley, Kano, Footsie, Scratchy, Dizzy, who else? Skepta as well. Did I say that?
Skepta, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like, these are iconic people in the grime scene, and for me to be asked of that from Jammer is an absolute privilege and an honour, because I mean, like, some of the most iconic grime MCs of all time have been in that exact same spot that I'm going to be throwing words at Shiz, you know what I mean? So I thought I'd be quite stupid to turn it down, because with Don't Flop, I guess it is a case of being pigeonholed, because people have an expectation of what you will do in your career, and I wanted to stray away from that. And I had a tiff with Jammer about 6-7 months ago, because I thought, basically what happened was, Socks was supposed to be clashing with Shifty, and Socks did a hype session for Shifty, and the way I perceived it was that Jammer wasn't a neutral figure, and I thought, well, I guess Socks and Jammer are working together, a bias is going to happen, whether it's subconscious or not. It could have been something he didn't mean to do, but I just thought it was a case of, it seems like he's trying to egg Socks on, but if you're a host, you need to have a neutral perspective, because at the end of the day, it's like, referees in football will get fired if they're biased to one team. You know what I mean? So how is it any different in grime? I understand grime might be relatively informal in comparison, but why is it any different? Because it's a competition, and the host of a competition should always be neutral, because then what would be the point? You know what I mean? So I was quite angry with that, and obviously I think I had every right to, because my cousin had like a pretty serious car accident, and he wasn't in the right mind state for it, and it really upset me to see him get this.
How is she tonight?
He's good. He's good. He's the same Shifty, innit? But obviously with the circumstances that happened, brain damage, crazy stuff.
That affected him musically, and
I guess, to be fair, like, it will have affected his drive, but I'm so blessed that he's here, because for me to be talking about him in the present tense is a blessing in itself, because I could be talking to you, talking about him posthumously, saying, man, imagine if he did that. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, he could have died, and it's as real as that. And sometimes I think to myself, people just don't get it, because the crash was that serious that he could have lost his life. And people are saying, yeah, cause you should clash socks, bruv. This will be sick. This will be sick for your career. And it's like, who cares about a career? At the end of the day, he's got a life now. You know what I mean? He cheated death at the end of the day.
He did as well.
And like like a year before that, my cousin passed away in a car crash as well around the same time, and it was a mad mind state for me. It was the craziest moment of my life to hear that he had a crash, because it was like, I didn't know if he was alive or not, and it's like, yo, Warren's been in a car accident. I'm like, what? Not this again after 12 months. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, like, don't expect music, just be happy he's here. He's a piece of grime history. I mean, like, you should be blessed. You know what I mean?
I get you. Yeah.
So I don't know.
But that's how Lord of the Whites came around.
Yeah, and after a while it just came to me that it's very beneficial for my career at this moment in time, because I have had, like, I did have a bit of a stagnant period when it was recording, because I was so fixated on getting a good product out, and with this EP, I had to throw away a good amount of tunes. For me, like, I think I recorded like 15 tunes for a 7-track EP. So a lot of it was quite frustrating, because I want this EP, it's my sophomore EP, so I've got to follow up the first EP well, and the first EP had really good critical acclaim. Like, it did really well on the iTunes side of things, and people are still talking about it now, so I'm blessed for that. But this EP's got to top it. It just has to, because I want it to mature, and I want it to be a case of, yeah man, this first EP, it wasn't as polished as the second EP because he matured in his sound. And you'll notice that with the way how broad the production is and how many different topics I touch on, because I'm more honest with it, and like brutally honest as well. Like, I talk about like things in my life, like I talk about like my cousin passing away, and like one of my friends passing away, and I talk about like all my experience in school, like being picked on in school and getting over that. And then there's other topics as well that are real to me, and it's like, I'm not scared anymore of what people think of me, because people already think of me as this kid that just is arrogant as hell, because that's the protagonist I play through my battle rap. But when you get to know me as a person, I just chill, and I just want to talk. And I find it upsetting that people pigeonhole me, because it's kind of cutting you off to music that I put a lot of work into. And I mean, I don't ask you to buy my music, I just ask you to accept it, and I just want you to like, just give it a try almost, because it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, because grime, hip hop, some people just don't like rap. People just want to hear vocal lines. That's the way life is. And this is why I've started to sing a bit as well. Like, on the EP you'll hear some vocal hooks, and you might think it's me trying to sell out, whatever that may mean. But at the end of the day, it's part of my evolution as an artist, and I think everybody has to go through that stage to become stronger.
To the people watching, unfortunately, we're in a location where we're running a bit late today, and we're going to have to cut it short in a second. I do want to speak to Blizzard for a lot longer, and maybe we can get him back for another 2.
1000%, man.
Because we're not going to finish it.
Okay,
We're not going to finish it.
Bye, Brad.
There's still more things I want to talk about. One question I do want to ask you before we go, and it's something that I asked Wrigley via Twitter. What's going on with Manchester, the Manchester music scene, and the fact that for the urban side of things, etc., it doesn't feel like there's much happening? Is that the case, or? You
know what it is? There's a lack of unity. There's a lot of segregation and a lot of pride, and people feel like they're not in a position to help others. And I don't agree with that at all. And it seems that people have got into the mind state of, you've got to be in London to succeed. Us being Northerners, we're the anomaly to the rule, and we aren't the expectation of what grime should represent. So we do have trouble. But recently, like, I've been trying to work with so many people, but you can't help, you have to help yourself before you can help anyone. And you know what? Shifty's car crash, it broke people apart. Like, there was a point where, like, everybody was a unit, and we could all go to shows together.
You guys have Unity FM as well?
You know, with me though, I'm neutral, and I get along with everyone I meet, and I don't say that in a weird way, but like, my only aim is to make music and to have fun with it. And I don't believe in postcode wars or like coordinate beef. It makes no sense to me, because at the end of the coordinate beef, whatever that means, I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
but like with me, yeah, like the way I was brought up in a really chilled background. I'm from a suburban area.
Yeah.
I don't fit into any gang culture whatsoever, so I'd never have any problems. So I could go to places in like Mosside or go to places in Rusholme that are relatively gang affiliated, and I'd have no trouble. But to other MCs,
that would be
it would be different, because like gun crime exists.
It's a real thing.
Knife crime exists, and gang crime does exist, and it's a horrible thing to get into, and this is why I've strayed away from it. And even if people want to look at me really booky and think like, yeah, well, this isn't really what we want to see, this isn't the kind of thing we want, why is this Blizzard kid talking consciously in grime? Considering grime was brought up in East London, where people were talking about shooting and stabbing and drugs and making all this money. But that's not me. Why should I like appeal to that agenda? And because I'd be lying to myself, and I'd be giving people a false idea of who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair, because I think people have the right to know, because they're buying into you at the end of the day. Why shouldn't they know your real character? And it took me quite a while to realise that, because a lot of the music I listen to is very honest and very tasteful. Like I listen to stuff like listening to like Dance with the Devil by Immortal Technique. The concept in that was just like very, very hard hitting and powerful. It might not have been a true story, but it was presented like a true story. With me, I want to present true stories, and I want people to feel like they're having a conversation with me. Pardon me. And I did a song called Get to Know recently for Don't Flop, which is like, it was basically supposed to be a song, and we had problems with clearing the use of the track, so I just did a freestyle over the track for a channel, and it's literally just like my whole life story, talking about like my cousin's car accident, being bullied in school, getting over that, the relationships that I've been in that have failed, relationships that I've been in that haven't failed. But at the end of the day, people are buying my music. They have a right to know who I am and what's happened in my life, because I'm not going to go around saying, yeah, cause like, I shoot guns, I stab people, because what's the point? At the end of the day, like, I'm not going to glorify the kind of life that's took one of my friends. It's absolutely preposterous, it's disgusting, and this might make me a bad grime artist, but screw you if you think that, because I'm being real to myself with what I produce.
And on that point, I think we're going to end. But Blizz,
mate, absolute pleasure.
And what I want to do with you, because your EP is coming out, and because it sounds like you've got a really good body of music, and also you've got Lord of the Mics coming up really soon, I think we should get a part 2 and kind of get you in a couple of months and see where you're at. Okay?
Definitely.
Well, thanks for
mate,
coming in.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Big up Despa. Absolute legend.
There we go. That's another episode of Meet the Artist. Sorry it's been cut short. And you're watching be83. I'll see you soon.